A very good evening to you all. You're joining us on Prime TV News. I'm Dilani Shaitilaka. Let's have a look at the headlines first. Singapore's Minister of Law and Home Affairs calls on the President and the Prime Minister. Police commences a special investigation into Ranjan Ramanayaka's telephonic conversations. Shani Abesekara banned from travelling abroad. Sri Lankan Airlines alters the route of Colombo-London flights. Ukrainian plane crashes in Iran shortly after takeoff, killing 180 on board. Now for news in detail. Singapore's Minister of Law and Home Affairs K. Shanmugam called on President Gotabaya Rajapaksa today. A range of bilateral matters, including the development of relations in the fields of trade and investment, prevention of terrorism, was discussed in the meeting between the President and the visiting minister. The meeting was held at the President's office. Discussions were also focused on Singapore's new laws to prevent false information sharing and maintain religious harmony. Meanwhile, Singaporean Minister K. Shanmugam called on Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. The Minister of Law and Home Affairs of Singapore met Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa at Temple Trees. Several bilateral issues have been discussed at the meeting. Secretary to the Prime Minister Gamini Senaratne and Defence Secretary retired Major General Kamal Gunaratne, Prime Minister's senior advisor on economic affairs Ajit Niwad Cabral were also present at the meeting. The Colombo Crimes Division has commenced a special investigation into the mobile phone recordings of MP Ranjan Ramanayaka. A number of telephone conversations recorded by MP Ranjan Ramanayaka have caused controversy in the media. Various parties have lodged complaints with the Police, Judicial Service Commission and the National Police Commission requesting a comprehensive investigation into the case. The Colombo Crimes Division informed the Nugegoda Magistrates Court today about the progress of the investigations. The Colombo Magistrates Court, following a request made by the Colombo Crimes Division, issued an injunction order preventing former CID Director Shani Abesekara from travelling abroad. The Nugegoda Magistrates Court today issued an order preventing the former director of the Colombo Criminal Investigations Department, SSP Shani Abesekara, from travelling abroad. The order was issued following a request made by the Colombo Crimes Division. Shani Abesekara is currently suspended in his service due to controversial telephone conversations with MP Ranjan Ramanayaka. The Colombo Crimes Division has commenced a special investigation into the incident and the matter was presented to the Nugegoda Magistrates Court today. The Presidential Commission appointed to look into the terrorist attacks on Easter Sunday met today. Several people came to testify before the Commission today as well. Among them were MP Vijayadasa Rajapaksa and former Governor of Western Province Asad Sali. Venerable Akmimana Dayaratana Thero, Chairman of the Sinhala Ravaya National Organisation, also gave evidence before the Commission today. Venerable Akmimana Dayaratna Thera said that the previous regime showed grave laxity over the warnings which were given prior to the Easter Sunday attacks. The Thera noted that they warned the government of such extremist organizations being formed in the country with possible links to the IS terror group. The Thera mentioned that instead of probing the possible security threats, the government was focused on subduing them. A group of ministers and parliamentarians came to the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption today to inquire about the complaints submitted to the Commission. State Minister Mahinda Nandaludgamage mentioned that complaints were previously lodged by them at the Commission with the belief that it was an independent commission. The minister pointed out that, however, none of those complaints were investigated by the Commission for 3 years and 2 months. He pointed out that Minister Vasudeva Nanayakara had reminded the Commission twice, but those reminders were also neglected by the officials. Mahinda Nandaludgamage highlighted that a new complaint regarding misappropriation of 1,500 billion rupees of public funds was filed today in addition to the previous complaint. The minister added that they expect the Bribery Commission to investigate the matter independently. State Minister Vasudeva Nanayakara said that the Bribery Commission had blatantly buried the complaints lodged so far. The minister pointed out that the commission will have to face the wrath of the people for their conduct. State Minister Janaka Vakumbura said that the people elected the new government with the expectation of bringing the real perpetrators before the law. He urged the Bribery Commission to conduct swift investigations. State Minister Shehan Simhasinghe said that 13 complaints were filed by them against several key ministers of the Yahapalana regime, including previous Prime Minister. The State Minister noted that the investigations had been carried out rather sluggishly by the Bribery Commission. The SLFP General Secretary Dayasiri Jayasekara states that the SLFP will extend its fullest support to the President's new program to rebuild the country. Dayasiri Jayasekara was speaking at a media conference held at the SLFP party headquarters. He added that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's government has introduced a range of programs that helps to develop the country. He highlighted that the President and the government fulfill the promises given in the electoral manifesto cleverly while managing many hardships created among people. Dayasiri Jayasekara promised to support the President's endeavours. Video footage of Ranjan Ramanayaka's conversation with Kaduvela magistrate Dhammika Hemapala was released to the media for the first time today. According to the sources, they have exchanged views to imprison then Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and Ravi Karunanayake. This was revealed after the Singhale organisation filed a complaint with the Judicial Service Commission against judges Dhammika Hemapala and Gihan Pilapitiya. The governor of the North Central Province, Professor Tissa Vitarana, says that he appreciates the decision taken by the present government not to implement the Counter-Terrorism Act. He was speaking at a press conference held by the Socialist People's Front at the N.M. Pereira Centre in Borella. Tissa Vitarana further said that the cabinet had decided to repeal the Counter-Terrorism Act. He highlighted that the act could have been used to oppress all anti-government voices and even to sustain an autocracy. Tissa Vitarana noted that the act was drafted by the previous administration according to the whims and fancies of foreign powers. The governor added that it was a commendable decision of the government to repeal the controversial act. Deputy Secretary of the Democratic Leftist Front, G. Tilakasiri, mentioned that the continuation of the Counter-Terrorism Act would have been detrimental to the democratic rights of the people. Today is the 121st birthday of the late Prime Minister S.W.R.D. Bandaranayake. A special ceremony was held in front of the Bandaranayake statue in Galle Green to mark the birthday of the late Prime Minister. The fourth Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, S.W.R.D. Bandaranayake, was shot dead by an assailant in 1959. He was the founder of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. The former Prime Minister played a huge role in making the Sinhala language the official language, establishment of the Employees Provident Fund, and strengthening diplomatic relations with countries such as China and Russia. His 121st birthday commemoration was held under the patronage of former President Maithripala Sirisena. A group of ministers and public representatives paid floral tributes to the statue. Minister Pavitra Vanyarachi made an inspection tour at the new maternity hospital being constructed in Karapitiya. It will be built under the German funds with a financial assistance of 5,000 million rupees. In consequence to destruction of the Mahamudra hospital in the tsunami, construction of a new maternity hospital in Karapitiya began in 2005. However, due to non-receipt of funds from the relevant German foundation, construction was halted. Once again, the construction work started in 2008 with German assistance. The 6-story maternity hospital will have 6 operating theatres. The Ministry of Education states that the Suraksha student insurance program will continue. The Ministry of Education states that the propaganda rounded regarding the suspension of the insurance policy is false. The Suraksha Student Insurance Program is implemented to benefit all government schools, Pirivenas, private schools as well as international school students. It is the intention of the Ministry of Education to continue this insurance policy, which is in the best interest of the children of the country beyond the narrow political objectives. Public Obligations Centre states that a memorandum has been handed over to the President requesting the appointment of a special presidential commission to provide justice to the victims of the misconducts as revealed by telephonic recordings of Ranjan Ramanayaka. Convener of the centre stated that the letter was handed over to the Presidential Secretariat under the patronage of the General Secretary of the JVP, Venerable Jamurevela Chandraratana Thero. It is reported that the northern province has received a high yield of peanuts this year. Due to timely rains in this season, high yielding was received. With the involvement of the army and the voluntary organizations, conflict-ravaged areas in the northern province were demined and made available to be cultivated. Accordingly, farmers in the Kilinochchi, Mullaitivu and Vavuniya districts have cultivated a large amount of peanuts, and they say they receive in between 100 rupees to 120 rupees per kilo of peanuts. Up next is Biz News.
State-run Sri Lankan Airlines said it was rerouting flights to London to avoid Iran as a conflict escalation in the region. The US aviation regulator also ordering American flights not to overfly the area. Sri Lankan Airlines is closely monitoring the situation and is in contact with relevant national and international authorities, with the safety of its passengers and crew members being of paramount importance. The US Federal Aviation Commission ordered American civilian aircraft not to overfly Iran and Iraq. Iran launched missile attack on several Iraqi bases overnight where US troops are stationed.
That's all we have for you today. Prime News returns tomorrow. Have a pleasant week. Good night.